All right, guys, appreciate it. Last opportunity of the regular season. Again, good opponent coming in here. Excited about having the opportunity to play these guys, play them in front of the home crowd. So, we're looking forward to the opportunity.
What did you see on tape as you went back on Sunday night?
Yeah, and look, I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking about last week. I mean, we've kind of moved on, and we're moving on to Detroit. I'll say this: I don't think I coached well enough last week. I don't think we played well enough last week, and so you learn your lessons. You go back and make the corrections that you need to make, and now we move forward, and we're getting ready for Detroit. And I appreciate any of the questions about last week, but at the end of the day, I've been through it plenty of times, and so I'm ready to go ahead and move on.
Is that the response you're getting from your defense as well? Like very focused on
Yeah.
this week?
Yeah, that's what we have to do. That's the way this league is. Look, it doesn't matter win or lose, you move on to the next one. And I think that's one of the things that our team has done a really good job of in all phases. I think Ben's done a great job of maintaining the focus for the team on the task at hand. And look, we're looking forward to playing against a really good Detroit team. Offensively, they got a ton of weapons. Really good at the skill position players. The runners are both outstanding runners, as well as being able to get out in the passing game. The quarterback's an outstanding player. He throws the ball, timing, rhythm, accuracy, all the things that you need to do at the quarterback position. And offensive line wise, it sounds like they may have some guys back and get a little bit more healthy up front. And when they have all their guys up front, they're tough to deal with.
What would you say the areas that you want to see the most improvement in going into this game against the Lions?
Yeah, look, I mean, each and every week there's a ton of things that we want to try to improve on, and so obviously I think winning the line of scrimmage is going to be a big part of trying to win this game. I think when you look at the quarterback and being able to affect him, there's a lot of max protection stuff, play actions, things designed to help protect him and keep that pocket clean for him. And when they're able to do that, they execute at a really high level. So that'll be a challenge for us trying to win the line of scrimmage. I think a lot of what they do starts, in the run game, being able to run the ball effectively. This Jahmyr Gibbs is a hell of a player, and I think as he goes, when he's really rolling, I think their offense really rolls. So that'll be a huge part of what we got to do.
As improved as Nashawn has been this season, where do you want his game to take like that next step for him? Where do you think he still needs that work?
Yeah, look, I mean, I think we're all looking to improve. I think just as with all of our guys, you get to a certain level, and then it's really about consistency. You're going to play 60 to 70 plays in a game generally, something like that. And how can we make each one of those plays look the same? And so I think that's really what all of our guys are striving to do.
On the opposite end of looking back, how do you prevent guys from too far ahead?
Yeah, I don't think that's a challenge. I think each and every week in this league, your next opponent is it's enough energy and enough time and enough mental process, just to focus on that thing that's right in front of you. So I think our guys have done a good job of that this week so far.
With Austin Booker, what have you seen from him the last couple games? I know he got to the
Listen, here's what I think about Book. I think he's got some pass rush value for us, and the thing about him, he's tough, he's gritty, he fights. He's a little undersized, so there's some times where, just from a size, strength, power matchup, that it's not advantageous to him, and yet he fights them, and he plays extremely hard, and so those are. That's a good starting point for us.
Coach, what do you guys lose with a guy like Noah going down?
Yeah, look, I mean, I think Noah was one of those physical players. I thought he helped us, in particular when we got into some of our regular packages as a Sam linebacker, guy that can go set the edge. And you hate to see, a young developing player go down because, he's still in that developmental stage of his career, and So you feel for a guy like that that's going to lose some of that developmental time.
With Book, he's obviously flashed a lot throughout the course of his young career. Is this him taking a step? Is this him kind of making that next evolution of his game?
Yeah, each day he's got to take a step, and so um, it's hard for me to, when you talk about evolution of his career and things of that nature, it's just like, how's he going to get better today? You know, and I think it gets back to the same thing that we were talking about with Nishan. It's really about, consistency and everything that you do. And so that's the best pros, are the ones that, man, every day you know exactly what you're going to get, and I think that's what we're all striving to do.
This is a contract season for Jaquan Brisker. What have you seen from him throughout the campaign?
Yeah, I think he's a physical presence for us, and those are things that we try not to focus too much on in terms of contract years and things like that. Again, we have to keep the main thing, focus on, what we have to do to try to, win this game against Detroit, and then there'll be plenty of time for all that other stuff, after the season's over.
You worked with Declan in New Orleans. What have you seen of him in this role alongside Ben and the way that the contributions that he's brought to you guys as a coaching staff?
Yeah, look, I think Declan does a great job for us. You know, he's extremely smart. He's very detailed, and so I think from a thought process, from an ideas process, from an organizational standpoint, there's a lot of things that he's doing, behind the scenes, and probably more than I'm probably privy to, that helps out in terms of, helping Ben to be able to, be the head coach, focus on offense, defense, kicking game, and then be the play caller and game manager on Sunday. So I think that's a huge role within our organization, when you have a play caller on one side of the ball that's also the head coach. You really need somebody behind the scenes that can handle a lot of the legwork for you.
Is it cool for you seeing him? It's obviously some years ago as a young guy, he's really
Yeah.
coming into this.
Yeah, I think anytime, I mean, I think all of us that have been in this league for a while, I mean, that was us at one point in time, we were the young guy that was, hungry and driven and striving to continue to get better, and, thought we knew everything, but we really didn't, and so I see Declan as one of those guys, like every day, you see him, grinding away, studying the tape, doing all the things that you have to do to grow, as a coach in our league. So, and it's cool for me because I got to see him when he first got into our league. He's young now, but he was really young then. So that's been cool to see. Yeah. All right. Thanks, guys.
And what stood out to you about the way Caleb took on kind of the pressure and the challenge of kind of going shot for shot?
Yeah.
If you will, with the way they were performing, knowing he had to kind of go every time, just the
Yeah.
throws he made on Sunday.
So we felt like, with an offense like that on the other side, the game could turn into, something like that where it's a shootout and you got to go blow for blow. And we kind of knew that all week. We were preparing for that just in the case that happened. The last time we had to do that was really Cincinnati, where, you're going against a high-powered offense, and a lot of games into the postseason are like that. And so, the mentality was, we control what we can control. When other things are going on, it really doesn't matter. Caleb did a great job of maintaining composure, really the whole offense, coming in at halftime, being able to talk to those guys and look them in the eye, and just really seeing no flinch from any of them being really confident about going out and executing. And I think that he did a great job of, just controlling, what is immediately in my control right now. And obviously, we don't make the play right at the end, but it was good to see just growth from the whole offense of in a game like that where, your offense has got to do a great job of scoring. We were able to put up points, and obviously we want to be able to finish it there at the end.
Declan, on the touchdown to Loveland, it starts with Caleb's cadence. How much have you seen that grow in
A lot. Yeah, you've seen that a lot. You see a guy who is more in command as far as when he's up there and utilizing the cadence to an advantage. We talked about that a lot when we first got here, just our cadence being something that we wanted to kind of hang our hat on, and it helps you in a lot of different ways. Being under center and your guys being able to come off the ball and get a little bit of an edge just because the quarterback's cadence is consistent. That was an instance of, we're kind of in a mode of trying to get them to see if we can jump, and then we'll get to the play we're going to run. Just so happens that they jump. That's a situation that we practice quite frequently. But really, they jump. We pulled the trigger at center. We did a great job of protecting and really flipping into that protection that we needed to handle. He did a good job of working out there, and then Loveland, able to separate, and we create a big play down the field. We create a touchdown, and it's really all off of his cadence.
Colston and Luther both put up a lot of big numbers across this week 9. I think they're 1 and 2 in the league, the rookies. How unusual is that to see rookies develop that quickly, and what do you think accounts for that?
I think that they've progressed really since they've gotten here. Obviously early on they had been banged up a little bit, and so they didn't have quite full off seasons. But they've just done a great job of keeping their head down. I think it's a byproduct of them being very willing and growth oriented. It's an environment that encourages that, and then the position coaches have done a great job with both of those guys staying on them and continuing to push them to grow. And, I think it isn't. It's not something that happens a lot, and yet, it's not something outside of the realm. When you watch their habits and how they work every single day, and you see them go out and have success on Sunday, it ties together. It makes sense.
Declan, you guys have had a lot of these 2-minute spots as a coaching staff where you gotta manage a game plan to get downfield against the clock, timeouts, everything you're going against it. As a coaching staff, what's it like for you guys kind of self-scouting yourselves in terms of how you manage that and trying to learn from each scenario?
Yeah, we spend a lot of time going back through that stuff now. As far as how ours is handled, we do it week by week, and then at the very end of the season, we'll be able to go back and look at a macro of, hey, here's how we handled each situation. But really, Harry Freed runs our, kind of our research and analytics. He does a really good job of preparing a meeting every week that we kind of sit and go through situations throughout the league, situations that may have come up in our games where we could have been better and we could have changed. And a lot of times it's really communication between him and Ben, because those are the two that are really managing us on game days. But, that's something that we do weekly.
Ben was really aggressive with Caleb early and just kind of calling him out on things to the point where Caleb wasn't even sure if Ben liked him very much. What about that approach do you think worked, and when did you see that kind of click?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is that we didn't just approach Caleb that way. We really approached everybody that way, and it was, it's a championship level standard, and we're not gonna bend that to anybody, including the quarterback or really anybody. Or going from our coaching staff to whoever's in the building. We have an expectation about how we want to operate, and when you demand of people, generally they want to rise to the occasion, especially guys that do have a growth mindset that want to be the best, and those guys kind of flock to that. And Caleb is a great example of that. We certainly put a lot on his plate early, and there were times where it doesn't always look clean, and yet that's really where growth comes from. Is going out and we might have failed at a practice in the spring, and yet that's the reason that we're here, because we were willing to get outside of our comfort zone, outside of our comfort level, and really put stress on everybody. We stress and rest, and then we grow. So that's been the biggest thing is we wanted to put stress on guys to try to get them to raise their level, and they were all very willing to do so.
Declan, it doesn't always look clean, but it doesn't always feel clean either. How did you see sort of Ben and Caleb navigate that together over the last 4 months of just being able to work through some of the tension that comes with that?
Yeah, I think that's a day-to-day thing. It's a little bit of, especially in the moment, controlling your emotions and understanding what the big picture is and what our goals are, and then kind of working backwards. Okay, if our goals are to be at this level, how do we get there today? How do we, is what happened today detrimental to that, or can we take this and can we learn from it? And I think that throughout the whole process, they've both taken really everything in stride. They've both been very open to communicating and trying to see the game through each other's eyes. And that's really what works is high levels of communication between the two of them, high levels of communication between the coaching staff and the players, and everybody trying to be on the same page so that when we get in big moments, the expectation is clear, they know what to do, and they can go out and play fast.
Declan,
Couple more,
when
please.
When Ben was assembling his coaching staff, was there a common trait that he was looking for in all you guys?
I think there were a number of things that he was looking for. Certainly talking about the rest of the coaching staff, the first thing that comes to mind is a lot of highly intelligent people that are very willing to work towards the common goal. There's not a lot of egos on the staff. There's a lot of people that are willing to put their egos aside in order to, kind of achieve the common goal. And I think that's the biggest thing is guys that were smart and then guys with humility. That really is what our coaching staff is littered with when talking about the rest of those guys.
Obviously very aware of how far this offense has come. What is most notable to you about the offense that you're taking into January versus the one you brought into September?
The operation is much cleaner. I think that speaks to the quarterback. That speaks to Drew. Being able to direct things, and you've been in 17 battles together, and there's shared experience as far as how we handle problems, how we handle things that might come up that are unscouted, and the communication is much cleaner. That's the biggest thing. And then also, you just confidence is born of demonstrated ability. And so they've seen themselves perform at the highest level at times. We're always trying to make it more consistent, but I think that there's a confidence bred from, going through those times, those 17 games or 16 games to this point, and feeling like you can go out and execute against anybody.
All set? Thanks,
Thanks, guys.
You guys doing all right?
Great.
All right. Afternoon.
You got
How's everyone?
How are you? Still morning for 4 more minutes.
Oh, is it for 4 more?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're at dinner time.
No doubt. Well, Happy New Year, everyone. Hope you all doing well. Obviously blessed, and we all blessed to see a new year. So don't take it for granted, and excited about the opportunity we have this week going against Detroit. So with that, we'll open it up to questions.
It wasn't a special teams play, but what did you think of Daniel Hardy fullback blocking?
I thought it was awesome. We scored a touchdown, right? Yeah, I thought that was a great call by coach. I mean, I wouldn't be able to speak to the execution of the play, but I saw him block somebody. So it's always a bad thing when you're in on a play and you don't touch anyone. So at least he touched somebody, and it's a good touchdown.
What are the challenges that Khalif Raymond presents as a punt returner? What do you just see from him?
Yeah, all pro punt returner, really elusive, can make the first guy miss. Got a lot of respect for Raymond. Obviously, always enjoy the challenge of facing him. We always want to face the best, and he's one of the best in the business at what he does. Really quick first step, really good instincts. Also think that he has a strong contact balance. He's a stronger runner than people think. Obviously, he has a touchdown this year already. He went to the house versus Cleveland, went to the house versus Tennessee last year. He's been to the house versus the Jets in a backed up situation around where he caught the ball around the plus 50. So he's dangerous, and we're going to have to make sure we do a great job spreading the net, not getting stacked in coverage.
How would you explain the advantage you have at home at this time of year?
I think, with us playing in our stadium in the wind conditions that are always there, along with the weather, both teams got to play in it. So we have to make it an advantage for us, It's not an advantage for us if we don't take advantage of it. But obviously we have familiarity with the wind patterns, and obviously we have familiarity with the temperature and all of that good stuff, playing and how the ball travels. So excited about the opportunity this week.
Ira always talks about, the notebook the notes he keeps, from every week, and he can look back on it. Is that what every kicker does? Does he do something above and beyond, or in a way that other kickers don't, in terms of tracking stuff like that?
Yeah, I'm not sure what other kickers do. All my kickers, I make sure that we keep logs of everything we do. So I think it's helpful and it's beneficial, and we like to keep a log of everywhere we play and everywhere we compete. So I just think it helps you because you never know when you return there. You never know what the weather will be that day. I think it's just important. It's part of being a professional, and Cairo's done an excellent job with that.
Richard, end of the first half, the Torrey's punt and Jalen Jones's hit. What stood out about just how everything worked out for you guys that play?
Yeah, obviously, anytime our number's called, we want to go out and deliver. I thought that was a phenomenal sequence on that play, or phenomenal play with the protection. Protection starting first, so the guys did a really nice job. They brought a fire from outside, which we call a fire, a corner fire, and replaced it, exchanged. So then we made sure the protection was right, make sure we counted everybody that was in the box. The protection was excellent on that play. And then Torrey hit a beautiful ball, 57-yard ball, over 5-0 hang time. He had a one-on-one outside with Jalen. He did a phenomenal job of beating his guys, stacking him. And it was a bang-bang play for a 0-yard return. Tackled him at I think the 8 or 9-yard line, which is it's an explosive for us from a punt standpoint. I thought that was outstanding. I thought the punt team did a phenomenal job in that game, period. Sky Moore is a good player. You know, he's had some big returns, and the punt team and the kickoff coverage team eliminated him. He was a non-factor in that ball game. So that's what I like about the coverage in that play.
Richard, when you're part of a game that doesn't have that many punts in total, how do you keep that unit ready to make plays just like that?
Yeah, I mean, it's a one snap and clear mentality. No matter what the play is, no matter if it's good or bad, we one snap and clear, and we're just focused and locked in. I guess this time of year, with the games being played the way they are and where the stakes are right now, it's not really hard. It wasn't really hard to keep them engaged. I mean, they were locked in, chomping at the bit for every play. So obviously, there are no moral victories. We went out there to win, and we didn't get that done. But I did think like the guys put their best foot forward, and they played good football on teams for most part of the day.
When you're week 18 against a team that's eliminated, are you thinking more about the potential for face on the other side?
Yeah, always thinking about fakes, especially with that group. I mean, that group has done a number of fakes. They've done 5 in the last 2 years, 15 over the last 4 or 5 years, 15 plus. So they did one this year versus Philly. So we're always alert, antennas up for that. And I think just with this group in general, not just this group in general, they have a fake history. So it doesn't matter if it's week 2 or last week of the season. Like, we're always going to be conscious of that when you're playing Detroit.
Give Robbie a hard, good.
On behalf of Brad, when will you dip into the fake bag here?
Yeah, Brad is the man on that for sure. Let's just say this: it can happen at any time. It can happen at any time. All right, we're more for it than not.
To give Robbie a hard time for being an honorary 49ers captain the other day.
I didn't get a chance to talk to him. You know, I didn't get a chance to talk to him, but so, you know, it was kind of just did that, and I didn't really see him. So, anything? There, go ahead. You got something else? Yeah, thank you all. Appreciate it.